Hi, welcome to my video. I'm Jennifer Roberts. You're catching me on my YouTube channel, True Divine 44. You can also get me on my Facebook page, True Divine, and it is The True Divine for both Instagram and Twitter. Any likes, shares, subscribes and comments are greatly appreciated, and much love to everybody who does that thus far. So I put out as much free content as I can to help support and guide and inspire those who want to be supported, guided and inspired. I work with energy, I work with tarot, and combine the two together to bring the narrative to you to help guide you on your day. Only take what resonates. This is general, so I can't cater for everybody. Parts of the reading might resonate with you and other parts might not. It might all resonate with you and feel like a personal reading, or it might all not. Just take what helps you on the day and leave the rest behind. So this is for the 14th of August 2020. The same cards keep coming up. A lot of the personal readings, I'm switching up decks. I shuffle decks all the time anyway, just when I'm working or thinking, because it's my, what would you call it? You know, those clicker things that you do. I like pressing buttons and things. My fingers are always busy, so the cards really do that for me. I shuffle just to relax. So the fact that it's the same, when the same cards keep coming up and the same energies keep coming up in both personal readings and the energies that I pick up on around me and the daily energy readings, general readings like this, I take notice. And maybe sometimes it's because within the same energy there's there's layers of lessons, layers of things that can be shone through, things that can be shown to multiple different people, or the collective indeed might be going through a big shift together, which is what I feel is happening right now. There really does feel like there is this separation of frequency happening again. Now, I know a lot of people might think that this is overstating it or not, maybe. But for me, the energy that I'm picking up on and the separation of the groups of people in a higher frequency and lower frequency, and then just be above this lower frequency, is this headless chicken feeling of an energy. To me, this feels like something that maybe would have been happening during the Second World War, in the approach leading up to it, in that where the lower frequency energies are, that is not to say that they are not the ones above in power. It's not to say that they are below the higher frequency, because right now they're operating in their system. They're operating in the systems that were built up to match up their frequency and the actions that they will do and cause within that frequency, the actions of abuse, manipulation and control. So the problem we have right now is, one, in the higher end, we're having to really work hard to stay in that higher frequency. On top of which, we have got people around us that we care about, or even strangers. If you're in a higher frequency, you're recognizing the connection to the all. So even people that you don't particularly like, or strangers that you don't know, you feel for them. And so there's this energy of, there's infiltration happening here, where police are doing the work. People are being the police, they're policing each other, but they're doing it in that headless chicken way, because the lower frequency, that in a lot of cases is actually above, within the systems that have been built by them and for them, generation after generation, know how to hook in to the headless chicken energy layered people. And that's where you do get things like, put your mask on, regardless of any scientific evidence, regardless of any, not having any right to ask anybody if they're medically exempt, even if they want to go by the rules that are being handed down from the top, not going by any of the contradictions of that advice. So we're seeing lots of things like that. So that affects us too, even in the higher frequency. It's not around us too much, but we are having to We are, even when we are in a higher frequency and able to block out to a certain extent those that are in power above us and trying to infiltrate our frequency, we then have to deal with the fact that some of our loved ones, some of the people we care about, are in this headless chicken layer. And so, you know, if they can't infiltrate us by directly coming within our frequency, they can infiltrate our frequency by directing and fear-mongering and prodding and poking our loved ones within our circles to try and infiltrate and lower that frequency. So there is a time right now for taking a real stand within self, and at times that might be very difficult, because to look at somebody that we care about that has fallen hook, line and sinker, like a good old soldier would for the lies and corruption, and doing the work for them, how it's very difficult as somebody in a higher frequency to try and explain to that person without sounding condescending, without sounding hateful in their perception, as to why you won't listen to that advice or why you don't agree with that. And we are seeing and feeling that this headless chicken layer, I wish I could have come up with a better term for it, but that's what it feels like. Very chaotic, you know, just bop, 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 all around, banging into each other. It's what was I saying there? You know, it's, for us, we can see what's happening. For them, they think we are the ones that are do lally tap, that the ones that are in the higher frequency and talking about changing the way that we do things and changing our priority system. They think we are the ones that are do lally tap. So it is offering up a lot of challenges for everybody, regardless of which frequency you are on. The best advice I can give, especially if you are in the higher frequency and you're feeling what I'm trying to describe here, the best advice that I can give, the highest wisdom that I can give for you today, is that it's not for you to get that person ready to see your truth, to see what you have researched, what you've felt, what you've seen. It's only for you to be able to stand firm. And as hard as that might be sometimes, because you want to save your loved ones, you want them to know the truth, you want them to not be getting abused by narcissists, you know, that hook into people's weaknesses. So, but you can't save them from that. They have to do that. They have to find their way to do that, or they might not. It might not be their choice to do so. It might not be their time to do so. And so there is this separation that is continuing to pull further and further apart, which brings its difficulties. That's what I'm trying to say. So the reading for the 14th of August, the Lovers card comes up again. Again, another major arcana, a Gemini card. Often, me being a Gemini, I understand this, you know, you can look so cold-hearted on one hand, but actually you're doing things out of, making decisions out of the greatest of compassion for the person or for the situation. Where there's lots of choices here around and lots of shiny objects in these women that are very beautiful and dancing and doing certain acrobats. It's for you to find your truth and make major decisions in your life. Make major decisions that will set you on course for what is next in your life, and it feels big. We've got the High Priestess, another major arcana, to clarify that. So where the High Priestess is the assimilation of the Fool card and the Magician together, knowing that we create our reality through our thoughts, our words, our deeds, knowing that we create the physical reality that we are in through these thoughts and words and deeds. Knowing all of that, then we have to know that we have to be careful of what we're saying. We have to be not complacent about the choices and deeds that we do, to really be of a higher standing, of a higher example. What decisions is it going to make? Is it going to be for some people? You see, for some people, it really is a decision to let go. And for a lot of people, that is to let go of addictions. For a lot of people, it is to let go of wounds that they've been holding on to, or grudges that they've been holding on to for too long. And you know, revenge, even for a lot of people, revenge might look very sweet. You might think it's going to taste very sweet, but what kind of reality is that going to muster up around you? Because in revenge, you are dipping into that lower frequency. You're dipping into that really should not matter right now. So there's a lot of things that need to be let go of in a lot of people's lives. But on top of that, these two cards, the combination of the Lover and the High Priestess here, is to make the decision once and for all to really to start to not just know what you know about the powers that you hold within, the intuitive powers, the physical powers, the creative powers, but to start to live by it, to start to accept that you are more than you've been told, that you are more than that which you've been limited to. To be brave enough to take that step, because again, the second card is this Seven of Cups, and this speaks of distractions, you know, desires, being able to be taken off your path far too easily. You know, there's lots of options here. There's a dress, there's a sexual energy here as she touches her breast. There's another one that's combing her hair. So a lot of these options, just like the Lover's card here, may be trying to ingratiate themselves or itself to you. Don't be fooled by the menial, by the temporary, even if it's the most passionate thing, but everything in your intuition is telling you it's not your path, this is not your purpose, this is not for you. Because to clarify that, we've got another 7. So we've got the 7 of Swords. So this speaks of an energy, a someone, a something trying to take away from you, and most of all, trying to take away your thoughts, hijack your thoughts, the swords being air. The High Priestess is warning us of that with the clarifying of this Lover's card, that, you know, do not be hijacked of the mind, because if somebody can hijack you and distract you in the mind, then they have quite a bit of pull as to what they get you to manifest. So again, going back to the introduction of this video where I described that these narcissists at the top, there's a lot of energy coming down into our individual lives from them in this headless chicken layer that we have of loved ones, friends. You know, they're not gonna come and you know, with an ugly mask on, a frightening mask, and try and hijack you that way. Why do that when, you know, it's timed and tested to hijack the mind? It's subtle, it's clever, you know, it's the TV programming, it's media, you know, being owned by a very small number of people, mainstream media, so that they can channel those ideas. They are literally channeling you, and don't think it won't come up as a shiny, beautiful, sexual, passionate, whatever's going to float your boat option, that's how it's going to show up. It's not going to show up as a scary monster figure. So you need this wisdom with this Lover's card and this High Priestess to not allow people to be hijacking your mind, to be hijacking your thoughts, to be hijacking your path and which way forward you are going to go. Again, the third card, Judgment. This came up yesterday and the day before and in a couple of personal readings. So you see this separation of the waters. Now today for me, this really does speak of the separation of the frequencies and the layers of people within these frequencies and these layers of these frequencies. The separation of that. And that's a difficult time, it is. And this is where the only way we get through this is through the Empress energy. The Empress energy is clarifying this Judgment card. This is a huge time that we're in right now, and it can be exciting, and it can be a real soul's purpose for many if we can hook into the wisdom of it all and stop being distracted by all of these tricks and spells that are being put out into the collective, these contradictions, these lies, these manipulations. Choose which side of the water you're on, which frequency you are on. The Empress is asking us to do that, the energy of the Empress, because where we've got the High Priestess that recognizes the diligence that we need to have with our thoughts and our deeds, the Empress brings that into fruition, into the physical reality. So at that book ending this reading, we have the High Priestess, it's dropped down there, and the Empress. And so it really does speak of the need to take a hold of this kind of advice wherever you might feel or get it from, whether it's me or me and your inner self, a higher self, your essence, ancestors, whatever it may be, to start to really listen. Because the only reason I'm getting this repetitive message is because it needs to be listened to. So to know how to assimilate your reality by really taking hold of your thoughts and not allowing somebody or something or both to hijack your choices and your thoughts and make it seem like it was your choice, make it seem like it was your way because it looks so passionate and shiny and new, when it's not. It was a trick, it was a spell. And so the need for diligence here is huge. And that's not to say don't be excited, because when you make this decision to embody the energy of the High Priestess, the Judgment energy, and the Empress together with the Lovers card, making that decision will free up your worry and your fear. There's a lot of people, even in a higher frequency, that still keep getting affected by fear. Don't allow that to happen. Make the decision that you need to make and make it today. You'll be freed from that fear very, very quickly, just like that. So on the bottom of one of the decks, we've got the Judgment card. Which frequency do you want to be on? Where do you want to fall? What frequency are you going to be in? Or what hill are you going to die on? How are you going to go forward? What are you going to take forward for the positive? What do you need to leave behind? This is a huge message for a lot of people. This is the TikTok moment. This is the choice of where you go on your soul's path right now, on your soul's journey right now, and what frequency and what reality do you want to bring in with this Empress card? Is it going to be motherly, fruitful, compassionate, and full of wisdom and full of great actions like the Leo lion? Or are you going to be stuck in your grave, wishing you chose, wishing you made the decision that the Lovers card is asking you to make? On the bottom of the other deck, we have another 6. So the Judgment cards are repeated here. The High Priestess and the Empress, you know, that's just you can't argue with that. You know, one comes after the other. We've got the 2 sevens, the repetitive things, you know, so there's mirrors here. There's mirror circumstances here where you're on a movie script right now. Depending on which train you jump on will be dependent on what decision you make prior to jumping on that train will completely depend on your destination and what kind of reality that destination will have in store for you and for the collective. And so To make this huge decision, we have another 2 sixes. So we've got this Lover's card, which is a major arcana, a 6, and then again we have got the 6 of Wands. So don't get lazy, don't get lackluster, you know, have some ingenuity about this, have some passion about finding your own way, creating your own tools, having that victory for self and therefore those in the collective. So 2 20s, the 2 and the 3, 2 20s, 2 7s and 2 6s. Crazy, but it's not. This is where we're at, and I feel, however crazy this might sound to some will recognise it. I feel I've been feeling my granddad a heck of a lot lately. I feel him all the time, but I've been feeling him a heck of a lot lately. He taught me a lot of what I know. He was a hero during the Second World War. He freed other prison camp comrades before himself because he knew he had more grit or more in him to survive. When the Americans rescued them out of that camp 4 years after they were left destitute, where their relatives at home were lied to and told that they'd been found dead because they didn't want to let them know that they weren't actually bothered they'd been captured. They were just going to leave them there to rot. The Americans rescued him after 4 years of being in that camp. During that time, he made sure other members got out to have some fight to survive. I'm going to show his belt later. I slept with it last night actually because he created a belt to keep his mind busy. My granddad had to pay a heavy price for the collective and the individuals within that collective to not make a decision to be on their own higher frequency and to not be hijacked and told what to do by a narcissistic lower frequency that had been allowed to be in charge above them. And so he made it his life's mission after that to create a good community around him. He fundraised, he answered to people answered to him, in Parliament. He would never join Parliament, no matter how much people asked him to do so, he never would, because he realised he needed to be a lone wolf on the outside of that system, because once he joined that system and got a dirty wage, they're my words, not my granddad's, but his essence, then he wouldn't be able to get half as much accomplished for the community as he did as a lone wolf on the periphery of Parliament. And so it means a lot to me that it feels very energetically similar to that time, a time before the Second World War, when people maybe had a choice to see the contradictions, lies and manipulations of those above them, and therefore to be able to recognise the same energies around them within their inner circle and choose to be on a higher frequency, choose to not do just as they were told, but to do what was right for the collective. So if you want to be a part of making sure that we don't return to a lesson that we should have already learned during the Second World War and all of these wars that have been continuous. It's just normal now that either the Brits or the Americans are somewhere controlling someone, doing something, using our precious men and women for cannon fodder for reasons that aren't true. It's time to take a stand, and it's time to stand in our own frequencies and stand for what is the future generations, our children, for them not to see the atrocities that the children during the Second World War and children all around the world are seeing today, every day, at the hands of soldiers that are just doing as they're told. And so it means a lot when you are putting off making these decisions, that you know if this resonates with you, is a huge major time in your life and a huge decision or decisions to make, to let go of and take forward certain things, certain someones. You need to make them and be brave enough to do so, because it will affect the collective and it will affect the reality that we create around us. This isn't a drill. So that's the 14th of August 2020. If you'd like a personal reading with me, you can get in touch with the details below. You can hit me up on my Facebook at True Divine. Send me a private message there. We can sort out a personal reading for you, really delve into your own situation, be very much more specific on your needs and the questions that you might have. If you'd like any energy alignment work, or if you'd like any spiritual guidance sessions, you can also get in touch in the same way. Much love. As always, be balanced and be whole. Mwah. Love you all.